Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Reus 2, where today we are attempting to truly live our biokinetic dream, which I don't still fully understand the meaning of, but listen, it's going to involve a lot of unique biotica with science yields. Now, as far as getting to 20 unique science biotica on the planet, I think we probably have, well, aside from the 3 stars, we probably have every science bioticum that we can put down already, because obviously we've been stretching evidence orchard of ash trees. So we may not even be able to get to 20 without doing another draft or two. Let's see here. Phosphorus. Yeah, the onyx doesn't. The selenite does. So the phosphorus and the selenite. Let me zoom all the way out here. 3-star stuff. So we got some gems. So this is another 3. And plant-wise... Okay, yeah, so I think we probably only have 3 biotica that we don't, with base science yields that aren't already placed. So let's go ahead and take a draft. We'll burn our 3 payment drafts. And then go ahead and throw in for our final forest draft here. Okay, and we got some interesting ones. So the maple tree and the Chinese jujube are both science trees. So this will give us fruit in biome, get 25 food and 25 science for each distinct adjacent bioticum type. And it gives us a fruit tree, which is pretty easy to get up to decent payout, and another tree that is also pretty easy to get up to decent payout. Or the maple tree, which gives every tree on the planet 50 points of resources for sure. And then also just has like a potentially a completely bananas payout itself. Unlocking the ginkgo tree and the white willow tree and a deer that is fine. It's just like an animal that's pretty whatever. 1 science for each point of resources in Legacy Biotica in this slot. Man, the ginkgo's really good. Okay. Well, I gotta be honest with you. This is... The maple tree feels like a winner to me. So this requires you to weave... Like, in order to get the maximum payout for this, it's cool that this, in theory, allows you to get plus 75 science on some number of trees, but only trees that are fruit trees. And also, it requires you to weave minerals and animals through them in a careful way so that everything's adjacent to both the other types. And while we do still need element biotica, obviously, on the planet to make our whole thing work, it's the payout for the maple tree is so much easier, and it affects the entire planet. And I do think the ginkgo seems really strong. The white willow is kind of whatever. But yeah, let's take the maple tree. I think that's a great pull. Now, what is the biodiversity cost of that? I'm realizing I didn't even look. Okay, 9. So not too hard to build when you're obviously building over some other stuff when you're using your tier 3s. So you have your 3 biotica types already. I might just lay down an upgrade right here. You want to be adjacent to animals with a base food yield, and obviously the squirrel is gonna do some work. In fact, that should be enough to let me get the maple tree down. I would really like to get the maple tree down before we start upgrading over these, because I want to lock in those maple resources. So yeah, I think I'm just going to come over here and do this. Please show me a booster. That's great news. That's really, really great news. So we're going to put down the hazelnut tree right here. That's going to produce, I believe, 4 points of biodiversity. 3 for the 3-star plant itself, plus 1 for the squirrel adjacency. Well, I should see what your deal is here. Okay, so on this one, we have access to one of those ones that scales with the single bioticum within borders with the highest science payout. I think Furniture Factory is going to be huge for us here because we can unlock this. And then I know right now this isn't going to be as max as it could be, but we're going to put a maple tree here. Obviously, it's not ideal to have squirrel adjacent to it when you would prefer to have all of the slots be trees. But we absolutely can, reconfigure things here, get the huge science payout. And even right now, it's only 483. That's still like a pretty good payout from, yeah, okay, with stuff continuing to calculate, this ends up being 504. That's still a pretty good payout, right? And it's a lot of extra food in addition to the extra science, which is great because that means we're getting our emblems leveled up. Yeah, all of the trees on the planet are getting even more paid out. This is fantastic. So we managed to push up to 89 combined value while inventing something new. That's definitely going to do it. Yeah. They invented paper from that maple tree. That's a pretty fucking good product. Okay, that did only add 1 unique science yield to the planet, but a lot of things went right there. Okay, let's continue finishing stuff up. So now each of these ash trees is producing almost 200 points of resources, which makes them much more attractive as a thing to throw a legacy over and then two legicize and then throw a ginkgo over, right? But actually, the City of Stars, this other city hasn't even given us its request yet. So let's work here next. So 20 extra food for each food in the animal within borders of the highest food. That's not going to be too compelling. The military base actually might be pretty strong. It may be the case that the high payout thing here is going to end up being a military bioticum. Or over here, 15% for each distinct metal bioticum. Big payout for the highest metal. But it's a considerably lower payout. We're getting 75% of the total yield here, whereas we're getting 120% on this side. Or plus 20% for each distinct energy bioticum within borders, plus 400 raw science for each distinct advanced bioticum within borders, keeping in mind that we know that trees are going to gain the energy tag, right? Isn't that a thing that we know? I mean, obviously this particular village doesn't have access to the most trees. But from what we saw last time, yeah, all tree and algae biotica will gain the energy tags. So we'll have the opportunity to have more tags. It might be to our benefit to take maybe even the 4th desert draft now. And we totally will level up our grasslands. It'll matter later. Okay, so the pomegranate tree is obviously not science, but it is tree. It comes with an energy element military that has a pretty decent overall payout. This is like fine. It's basically just a flower. So you get a big demotion if there's too many animals in the biome. That's not a problem that I think we're going to have today. If we took the dromedary camel, we could get the olive tree, but that's just, again, it's just a food output. I mean, Desert Solace has to be, like, pomegranate has to be the most total payout, but it is a shame that it is not science focused. Versus, like, oil, which is an element and an energy and an advanced and a military. and is getting big science and gold outputs for each plant on the planet except in this biome, and still gives access to the methane. And also Enargite, which sounds like some Transformer shit. The rat, which is always good. If we were to let me go look at the top end desert biotica here. Desert yields. Okay, here we go. So the ones with the stars are the apex biotica. Let's just look at the available plants here. So there's a undergrowth and coral get some stuff. There's of course the pomegranate. Oops, sorry, it's twitchy hands. Cotton, of course, not a tree. So yeah, I guess this is literally the only tree apex to be pulled. There is another tree. I wish you could click on cohort biotica to see what apex biotica they're linked to. This is a science tree. It's kind of a weird science tree. Trying to see what it unlocks with. I mean, it is not the case that everything needs to be tree payouts, right? So the eucalyptus unlocks with the kangaroo, and that's it, it looks like. And obviously we don't want to do the kangaroo unlock. It's a bunch of animal stuff that's just not good for us at all. So to be perfectly honest with you, looking at these, I do sort of think that oil might have been the best pull. If we're deciding we want to do an energy thing. Oh, lithium's not even got the energy tag. So yeah, I think we pulled the two most interesting ones. We pulled the stick to the tree strategy versus the best version of the energy strategy. Sorry, and then I need to 25 science per element on the planet. So even a tree that's not doing anything particularly scientific is going to end up with a science output that's in, the 250 something range pretty easily. I feel like. Versus this thing. I think this is going to end up being better, I think. Even though it doesn't play into our specific goal. And that being the case, I think we want to take the oil draft. And it's not like the oil doesn't care about our plants at all. Okay, so the oil draft is 10 biodiversity. That should be pretty doable. We could upgrade here and then throw methane down over top of the saffron. Maybe it feels a little bit silly to upgrade that in steps. But if I don't do it that way, I'm going to want to find a way to put down a plant that is producing anywhere near that amount of resources. I'm pretty sure this is the right thing to do. And then we can, worry about trying to get these back up soon enough. Oh, I love to see a resource booster. Does make me think a little bit about whether that should be where the oil goes, though. I mean, yeah, it should, right? Shit. So this is only going to yield... We got to put down, like, the methane or something. Turquoise is not going to be any good. Yeah. So instead of getting like 300 resources from this, I would only get about 60. So I'm looking at the 200 plus the 50%. But the trade-off would be a 50% bonus on this. This has to be better, right? I'm going to put down the methane here, which should boost us to exactly 10 biodiversity. So we'll tuck this in here. And that should cause, yeah, a big payout boost from the project. It's going to do something. All right, Stargazer is eagerly inventing something new. We're up to 15 unique biotica. And then I'm sure we can find a spot to put back down the 2 that we just swept up, right? Plus 2 technology for each technology gained from inventions and trade routes. So that's really interesting. That one's just a raw technology boost. Here we have another tree bonus. We have a furniture factory of our own. The apothecary, I don't think we have a lot of medicinal tags. The power plant is kind of interesting. 50 science and gold for each mineral within borders, with an up to twice 100% bonus for each distinct energy bioticum, which obviously we're going to zoom past. Hardware store. Like, if this ends up producing 500 to 1,000 science, let's say, our choice of project. At the end of the game, is that going to be 10 technology? Oh, no, it's not. Sorry, it's technology plus 2 for each technology gained from... So it would fire as 7. I think this still ends up being the most total value. It's a weird one for sure. Because like the conversion rate gets pretty rough by the end of the game. If you're pulling 1,000 science, you're probably like realistically... It really depends on where the city is. Like right now, it's 90 science to a technology. So 900 science gets us 10 technology. We would not expect to get 900 from the building. But honestly, we're not that far off. I think I'm taking the science. I think I'm taking the direct technology boost. It's a weird one for sure. Oh no, it's okay. See, it says it is producing 10. What is the meaning of... I guess it's technology plus 2. So the first time I read it as 2 technology for each technology thing. Then I was like, oh no, it's giving you the same value back with a little bit of a boost. You know, gear for gear plus 2. But yeah, if it's going to read it as twice the amount that's coming in from inventions and trade routes, then that's like clearly the best. Especially if we can get like 1 or 2 more inventions going, it would probably be very, very strong indeed. So let's try to get some more inventions going. Now, I will say one thing that I have done here is I have not made room for the high science output Apex stuff in this city in particular, right? Like the big science one, the big desert one is over here, and the big forest one is over here, which means we're not necessarily getting like the big powerful inventions, but we should see if we can do something about that, because like we could probably get phosphorus down out here, right? The phosphorus would want to be adjacent to 2 biotica with base science. The selenite would want to be near an animal. Okay. Let's go ahead and upgrade over this. Like I said, we should get a pretty good Ginkgo payout. Neither one of the things we're planning to place has food on it, so just lay this down over top of that. That pushes us to 6, which means I need one more biodiversity. A rat being placed adjacent to the city would do wonderful things. Yeah, and this particular sagebrush is not really doing anything because we have a sagebrush over here. Oh, right, except the rat's in the desert, which is not where the biodiversity needed to be gained. This, I guess, is our dream plant. It's a very strange looking plant. I can put a rat down over here. Yeah, these are not, neither of these are unique in the biome, so actually upgrading over this does not change anything at all. And then we can start talking about the other cities, right? This Big Valley Shrines turns out not to have needed access to the wetlands at all, or the steppe. So that's interesting. All right, so let me place a rat. So that'll get us to the level of biodiversity that we need to play. Nope, sorry, not you. All plants on the planet gain 25 food for each distinct mineral in their biome. And you are adjacent to 2 things with base science yields. So okay, that should be like huge resource output now for trees built anywhere else. In addition to just being like a huge amount of extra. Oh, we're probably pulling additional emblems. What does this city's emblem do? Biotica with a base science yield that's unique in its biome. Gets some extra payouts. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's important to keep track of the emblems too, because I'm sure we're getting. Oh, look at that. Very close to having an extra 20 points of resources on every tree in the entire world. Should probably make sure that happens at some point. Yeah, this thing's producing 560 science, which is absolutely nothing to sneeze at. Okay, so new city. Let's put down a new city. We're going to buy an expansion charge and a nomad. Throw down a quick expando world over here. And I think what we'll probably do is repaint this all rainforest. So the new city is partially in the rainforest and partially in the steppe. And probably partially in the forest. Honestly, we'll just extend the forest out so it can have a little bit of everything. Because I feel like the forest still has a lot to give. So if we were going to do that, let's say it ends up looking like this. We have forest like out past the bound of this city just a little bit. With, of course, the knowledge that we can always continue to refine later. And then we put down some rainforest, right? Yep, there is some terraforming happening nearby. That's true. Put down some rainforest right here. Trying to think, where does the other city go? I mean, I guess there's a really easy stretch of just forest over here. I'm reluctant to break this up because I think some of the biodiversity stuff on each side is relying on the other side. But I could actually just make the other city just a forest city and probably get by based on the very good yields of everything in the forest. Let me hit this and see what we get. So the diplomat wants prosperity for all. Diplomat's probably a pretty good pull. Let's call the diplomat in and go just hard forest with her. There's still theoretically room for like a gold obsessed person in the desert area as well. Right, because we did end up making a lot of desert. Well, we didn't end up making a lot of desert drafts for gold, but we end up having a fair amount of stuff for gold just due to the nature of the desert. But no, I think we're going to go ahead and pull diplomat here. And I'm going to buy the other nomad charge. And another extender, let's be honest. Go ahead and throw down another extender right here. We'll just make lots of room. That's more room than that city needs, I bet. Okay. And then other new guys. Ooh, boy. Well, feels like the farmer's really well suited to this task, right? Of surviving on partially wetlands, partially rainforest. We're going to need another expander over here. How much was the next one? 35. We can make that happen. But yeah, let me put you down. Right here, and we can, like I said, we can repaint around the edges where we need to. Okay. So, trees. Trees are like totally bananas in this biome. And we have actually kind of a lot of stuff that we've not yet made use of, right? Our white willows. We have no white willows. So you just want to be adjacent to two other trees. Let's go for like a white willow. Holy shit. Look at the prosperity produced by a single white willow. All right, we do want to make sure that we're placing, unique science producing biotica, right? You want to be next to sets of animals and plants. So my thought was here that I would put the tree there and then probably like a selenite over here. And that'll get us some more, some more unique science stuff, but also more biodiversity. And you want there to be population, and specifically you want there to be population because of food trees. Yeah, I think we're gonna have an easy enough time pushing like Ramon tree, papaya tree over here. And I know it feels like I'm taking forever to get this turned on, but I'm working toward it the whole time, so I'm hoping it'll be okay. Yep, the thing number 2 was already completed by about 1,000,000 points. Let's see. We're probably not going to be super focused on fruit biotica. Yeah, I mean, stonecutter makes sense, right? I want to be putting down a lot of plants because obviously our per plant payout is like super high, but we also have to have a certain number of element biotica, and each element bioticum on Earth is also feeding all of the other plants. We'll make it work. And it is also the case that we need to have more science than anything else when all is said and done, right? Like by a lot, so. For that same reason, Herbalist is kind of compelling, especially since the farms and stuff for this village will automatically produce lots of food. I think I really like to build trees, and that's not really an option here. Let's go ahead and take Herbalist. I know that our city request values do not call for science at all, but I think it's going to be fine. So we did get the money together, or the resources together for the expansion charge, and I do want to go ahead and use it. We'll throw it down right there. And we'll probably end up repainting some areas here. We'll figure out exactly what the balance of biomes needs to be. But you should come over here and place an undergrowth science bioticum. We should probably spend a rainforest draft. Although obviously a grasslands draft is also interesting. So the Gumbo Limbo tree is like totally reasonable here. Scarlet Macaw gets us the Cinchona tree instead, which is also fine. We don't get any undergrowth with either of them, though. We could take the banana. Oh, yeah, banana is a tree, right? Banana is a tree. It's a tree and it's undergrowth tagged, and it comes with another undergrowth, and also a cool bird. Check out this bird. All right, sorry to have opened that window while a payout was happening, causing the payout sound to loop infinitely in the background. All right, you just want lots of adjacent plants. We can do that. I think I am painting rainforest here. And of course, we're getting tons of border expansion early on here because we're hitting new thresholds of resources constantly. So you want to be next to a mineral. You guys all just kind of want to be next to plants. Because you want to be next to 3 plants. You want to be next to any plant. So yeah, I guess it doesn't strongly matter. Let's go for the Taro, which gives us an excuse to play Stone, which is both an element and our 20th unique science bioticum. The farmer just invented scrumptious desserts. Oh, it's a power plant. Right, of course it is. So you can see there all of the science being generated from all of our trees because of all of our elements. And in fact, the biokinetic utopia, we are, like I said, I was always building toward it. We just couldn't always see it. Holy shit, that's a lot of science. Yeah, we're hitting new emblem values, and the stats on all the trees are getting adjusted, and then that stuff's all paying out. And hold on a second, we're just gonna watch this number tick for a minute. I don't think it's gonna push us there all by itself, but I do think it's gonna get us remarkably close. Obviously, new inventions happening all the time. Okay, so there we go. 718 and 338 is pretty fucking good. It's definitely higher than I was expecting. Okay, and we have a mere 50 eon remaining. All right. So obviously animal breeders pretty easy to get done. Nothing here is going to give us more science than that. Yeah, and we have rat and also rabbit. Like it's very easy for us to put down a couple of decent animals. It doesn't play very well with the other thing that we had, the other goals that we have, which is a little bit of a shame. All right, let me put you over here because I do want you have to be adjacent to a city, and I want to keep my white willow, but it's got to be adjacent to two other trees, right? So we're just gonna have to change this up a little bit. These things happen. Okay, and then the hotel is going to be really hard to beat in this circumstance, I think. We are going to eventually get this up to 50, right, when we complete all the requests for all 5 of the cities, and that's just a lot of resources. It being at 42 payouts already is going to rush this city's prosperity up a pretty significant amount. I don't know that it's going to get us to 100, but... yeah, mid-80s. I'll take mid-80s. Okay, so anyway, everybody's having a great time. Feels like things are going well. I was gonna pear tree here, and then any tree right there gets us maximum payout from both of these, right? Or actually, you're already payout maxed. As is the world. We did the whole... okay. Man. 1,000 value pear trees. It's still possible for us to come over here and drop a river. Or honestly, it might even be better to put up a mountain and add 2 slots to get more leaf crown. I don't know. It's probably not. It's probably the creek is the smart thing, but geez. Also, you gotta say, like, all these people are getting along really well. We haven't seen a lot of cantankerousness. Nobody's hating the gods. I guess war is probably actually a good thing when it comes down to it in terms of total resource outputs, but I think we take animal breeder again. And I just, once again, I kind of amend some of my placements. Like, you just care about the biodiversity of the biome. So... oh, I thought the rat was available in every biome. I guess not. Well, then it doesn't matter where we put a lot of these. In fact, I don't think we have a rabbit, right? So I think a rabbit here is a point of biodiversity for this forest, as well as being one point of domesticability for this spot. And then, like, we can also put down, you know, a jungle fowl or whatever. Over guinea pig, I'm pretty sure. All right, let's see. What else can we do here? I do need these other giants to report for duty. The hell's taking y'all so long? All right, and the final poll. Food in the best fruit bioticum. Just raw payouts. The country club. +1 food for each resource in the undergrowth bioticum in borders with the highest payout. Wow, that's 840. Or like the agricultural lab is going to continue to grow as we just place more total plants. I think it's probably the agricultural lab over the country club. Unless, I mean, like, I guess really what it comes down to is the drafts. Because we could end up with some pretty sick drafts. All right, no trees here, which is expected. I believe there's only a couple of trees in the grasslands, but science if connected to a certain number of plants within the biome. You get some extra tags, and you come with a variety of plants. When taken by a grass fire, resources for each slot the grass fire is overtaken. You get some nettles. Playa. That's interesting. We haven't started a single fire. We haven't had to upgrade. We've hardly played in our grasslands at all. Honestly, the forest has really carried us quite hard here. I kind of want to take the rapeseed just because of that, because I haven't had the opportunity to do any firestorming yet. And then I want to draft grasslands again. Okay. +70 for each distinct tree bioticum in biomes adjacent to this biome. +10%. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, that oak seems really good. All plants in this biome gain 10 science. Here's a really cool looking gem. None of this other stuff is trees or science at all. Yeah, let's take the oak. So each distinct tree bioticum in biomes adjacent to this biome, which is the that's going to be the rainforest and the forest. It's the rainforest and the desert, unfortunately. That's a shame. We got a lot of unique trees in that forest. So there's only 2 points of biodiversity in this grasslands to begin with. We really have not developed our grasslands. So that is not an undergrowth, though. This is, but it's not going to be alive when it... I don't think the country club's going to work with that. So yeah, it does end up just being total plant food output that makes the most sense to boost from here, because I think we're going to end up with a lot of things that are not undergrowth having a lot of very significant payouts. Okay, you're all capped out on your other stuff. So let's talk about making stuff happen here. As far as upgrading to try to get an oak into place, should I wish to place an oak? And I do. I think I do. I need to get something to level 3. We need to get on a huge amount of biodiversity. We want to set up a really big grass fire, right? So like it would be and we can put down a clover here. And then this just wants fire. We want to put something that is, yeah, like the most food focused we can get on the food booster. Because we're going to burn it all. Is it possible for me to get another natural expansion here? Oh, yeah, for sure it is. That's going to happen. Every new plant we put down is so incredibly busted. Okay, and then some other stuff. Plus 20 food if connected to at least 2 plant biotica. I think this should be enough to prompt the border expansion. Yeah. And plus 3 fire if the grass fire is overtaken at least 7 slots. Interesting. So let's put this down here. I'm going to buy some more Eon in a second. We're just setting up a really cool grass fire. And then I guess, no, wait, no, not there. That's a place where there's a thing already. I guess there's good reason to put down a Meerschaum here. Oh, a mineral, just a new temple out of nowhere, which is probably already, yeah, it's already completed. It's just free stuff. Are you expanding? Okay, you are actually going to come and take this territory. That's fine. And then I just need one more thing that's going to have like a pretty decent payout, but I don't actually want the... I don't think I want the burn to extend beyond that because I don't... Like, I think that rock crystal is fine. We just have an element down, and I think it's fine to keep it that way. So that being the case, I guess it doesn't really matter what it is, probably. Gotta buy a little stuff here. I think we can spend some of this. Sure, we'll just fire tube again. Because this is going to Firestorm. Yeah. Okay. So then we take our thing, we start a grass fire on the clover. And it should eat all 7 of these slots. And produce a lot of points of burning and upgrade them all, but sadly only upgrade them to 2. So now we have to engineer another big grass fire before we're ready to put down our big stuff. But we did generate a lot of points of endured stress, which is pretty good. So now we can put down some 2-star stuff. This thing, we don't even have the biodiversity for it yet. Okay, so St. John's wort. Do we have a good 2-star? Okay, we don't have a good 2-star mineral that cares about this. So let's go ahead and just put you down there. That produces the biodiversity necessary to install the rapeseed, which is just... what a thing for us to have never renamed. We never came up with a better one, huh? So yeah, you can see the agricultural lab already had well over 1,000 value. Farmer's inventing something new. That's fun. That's fun for him. We want to make sure that we get the fire bursts correctly. So let me buy some more Eon. Put down a clover here, so that'll burn right. We'll get all this stuff. And we again want this one to be pretty big in total. We have some tier 2 animals to put down that are cool. Spreads grass fire to all neighboring biotica, but isn't removed. Put a Rhea down over here. So yeah, the Firestorm growth here, we want this to be quite significant. But I also, again, I am placing on a limited amount of total biotica, so here, or total Eon. So I do want to be just a little bit careful about what I put down. About what I intentionally explode. And then I guess we don't have a common oat anymore. It doesn't really matter. Like, the biodiversity is not something I need to actually care about. So that same 7 slots will burn. And now we still need to actually regenerate the biodiversity necessary to place the oak. Sadly, we did not get, well, we got an everything booster over here. Do we want to build the oak on that? Yes, for sure we do. It's a little bit of a shame because this city is not going to get as much out of the science, but it's going to produce a lot more science. You know what? The differential is not even going to be that bad. We have a lot of science in the ancient jungle temple anyway. So let's buy some more Eon. Okay, there we go. That's what we can afford. So 23 more Eon to produce the thing here. Well, first of all, I do think that we want the St. John's wort. I don't, at this point, I guess for the most part it makes sense to put the things on this side of the line. Because the oak doesn't care about adjacency, right? Right. So these can kind of go wherever. So we'll put more stuff on the blue side since the blue village gets more total payout for, or gets more conversion from them from the same amount of resources because its total prosperity is lower. And then we need to place other 2 and 3 star objects that we are allowed to place. We're allowed to place some selenite. Actually, we've got a really good spot for it. Put down another animal implant nearby, then we can get our bonus again. You are really not very good here. Alright, that'll get us, first of all, good payout on the selenite. Secondly, way more biodiversity than we actually needed. Let's make ourselves an oak on this super booster. Okay. A mere 2,700 gold, science and 729 food. Not that anyone's counting. That's true, and it does have the energy tag things too. Thanks to that thing, so it did help. The help paid out through the portal as well. That's funny. We still haven't really drafted all that much stuff from our rainforest. Not terribly relevant pulls here. There's a rubber tree. Actually have like a bunch of rerolls. Okay, Brazil wood seems like a winner. Comes along with 2 additional trees. Has a pretty decent payout itself. Okay, Brazil wood only requires 4 biodiversity. So I think let's grab you. It's the wrong button. Here we go. So I was saying earlier, we've had like a pretty chill set of villagers this time, and that feels nice. It feels uncomplicated. It probably is actually slightly better for the villagers to want to fight, right? Because you get free resources when they beat each other up. But, you know, I'm not going to complain too loudly. And then, yeah, nobody's going to be able to really take advantage of that. We just want to be next to some plants and stuff. Get extra fruit tags here. Oh, no, you wanted to be next to a... Shoot, I didn't... This isn't where this goes. This is supposed to be undergrowth. Let me replace it with the taro that it once was. Although, I could just put down the jabuticaba. And you know what? Like, the payout that we're missing from the bamboo is pretty minor. All right, we're still hitting invention thresholds. We're still adding more payout to the oak. I have enough resources to buy, first of all, some more Eon, but secondly, another draft charge. And I can't imagine needing any of the other stuff that we can purchase with that, so let's buy a rainforest draft charge. Here, the taper is adorable. And he does come with a bunch of trees, but he's not really doing the thing that we're trying to do here. The helium is interesting. 20 science for each distinct bioticum, 50 for each legacy. I mean, it's kind of where we're at. Sort of. Kapok tree is not bad. Adjacent to a bird or a monkey. Out of curiosity, if we were to go look at our collection real quick. Not eras. Biotica. This biome. 3 stars. What are we looking for? What could we look for that would be more fun than that? Well, coffee is pretty good. Coffee's really good, actually. The cacao tree is a little bit less exciting. It's a big tree, but it's not science-focused. The mandrill is a science-focused animal, one of those advanced monkeys. Science for each biodiversity in the biome, plus big money if there are a relatively small number of patches in the biome, excluding city patches. I think we are on a pretty small jungle, but I don't think it's quite that small. But I might take a reroll here and try to hunt for a coffee. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, yes, our rainforest is in fact 4 non-city. Okay, that's interesting. Let's take a reroll. Didn't get any of the things I'm interested in. Uh-oh. Last reroll. Okay, there's the coffee. Hard to turn down. I guess we do have this heliconia as well. But it's got to be the coffee. Right? And then... there's not really a lot of ways to generate biodiversity here. Obviously, just playing higher level things is worth biodiversity. So we could replace that stone with something a little bit more leveled up. Some bauxite. Sadly, I do still need an animal for... well, actually, yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe I don't need an animal that badly. You would like to be adjacent to an herbivore, though, for extra biodiversity. I don't think it's going to matter. There are 2 adjacent things that are 2-star or higher. Okay, so the bauxite will produce its maximum payout if I put it here. It does cost 1 biodiversity, so we're not getting the full value here. The onyx is pretty good. Yeah, let's play the onyx despite it not being on brand here, because at least like the resource, it is a lot of total resources, and trade is good. Oh, that's right, I removed one of my domesticable animals when I did the thing. That's not ideal. And we don't have a lot of extra tiles to put stuff down on, unfortunately. Yeah, to put down 11 points here, it's a tall order. We'll put down the mica, we'll get the extra resources, but it'll only take us to up to 8 biodiversity. I guess this isn't going to get us there either. It is going to take us also up to 8. Yeah, that's a real shame. It's a real shame that it's so hard to generate further biodiversity. I feel like I'm moving stuff up pretty efficiently. We could upgrade over these, except we already have a... yeah, shit. I need different stuff. I just need different stuff or more space to generate the biodiversity that I'm looking for. If I could get this over top of something we already had a copy of, but I don't think there's anything that fits that description anymore. Yeah, shit. And we're actually using the territory over here now, so I'm like a little bit loath to repaint it as something different. Oh, well, I guess this could be jungle. The mandrill won't be happy with me, but I don't think we're getting another draft charge, so. Yeah, we'll lose our rabbit. And I'll be on actually 0 resources from my breeder, but it's probably fine. There we go. Oh, you know what? I'm being silly. I should have upgraded over the rabbit. Yeah, because I'm going to have to upgrade here anyway, right? Like, I just threw away 15 food? Each distinct bioticum that has a base science yield. Yeah, it's pretty good. Wait, did I already have... Yeah, I absolutely already had mica. What am I even doing? Where is my head at? Well, whatever. We can put down bauxite instead, which will give us the same net yield that the bauxite would have. And then... Shit. I need one more point. And if I had a little bit more biodiversity, if I had a little bit more eon left, I could place something that is worth a point and then overwrite that thing. Well, that is tricky. We could overwrite something with something that's going to gain us relative biodiversity, but we don't really have anything like that left. And we're definitely nowhere near being able to buy the little bit of extra eon that would require. So, are these the right micros? Oh yeah, okay. We already got the micros that we were supposed to get. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I guess there's just nothing for it. I can't quite. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. I can, in fact, quite. I forgot. Creeks generate biodiversity. We can take an upgrade charge here, a terraform charge. The plants on the both sides of the thing give biodiversity. We'll just throw a creek down here between two relatively high value plants. Thus producing a huge amount of extra biodiversity. One of the reasons I was excited to take creeks in the first place, by the way. And then that will give me what I need to put down this delicious coffee. And it seems like maybe a second Brazil wood over the bauxite. Oh no, now we're like formally out. I was gonna say, because I probably want to creek this tile too, right? So, how many more creeks can we afford? The answer is a few. We can afford 3 more creeks, and we should absolutely play them because creeks are very, very good for us. So you can only play them on a patch. They go down the middle of the patch, and they boost plants on both sides. Obviously, this one's pretty good. I did not go for maximizing our creek potential here. Obviously, to do that would have involved the maple tree. Would have involved surrounding the maple tree with as many trees as possible. I didn't. I didn't get aggressive with that. We'll put down a creek over here, and then, I mean, the maple tree location is still very, very high value, right? Here we go. Yeah, it's got a 2,000 value tree on one side and a 1,200 on the other. Although it is kind of funny how much like every place that has trees is just kind of like super high value. So yeah, we'll put down another creek over here. That should be some decent payout. And I'm not like hyper optimizing here. I'm just kind of spending my stuff in what I think is the most obviously reasonable way. We're going to buy some microcharges so that we can afford to put down some of this stuff. 1842, 3201. All right, congratulations. Oak, you get the first dragonfly. Yeah, standing tall times 7, survivor times 9. It's pretty good overall. Alright, bestow us. A mystical dragonfly. Bestow upon us. The payout of this tree goes from $39.93 to... yeah, $51.50. It's not bad. Not including the resources, the food and stuff. And then that'll leave us with only 2 points left. But we can afford to do a little bit more of this. So we're only going to be able to do this one more time. Let's make sure it happens to the coffee, because after we place that one, it's going to go up to 5 cost. This can only upgrade animals. This can upgrade plants. Hey, I'm right about that, right? Yeah, the cost went up to 5. We're going to earn some extra tech here, but not... well, actually, maybe it is exactly enough to buy my way to another dragonfly. Indeed, it would seem. It would seem just enough. Well, let's go ahead and dragonfly this one too, although it's not quite as impressive. And then we have, what, 2 points left. We can throw a... we can throw an orchid mantis somewhere, or there's got to be like a good animal, right? Let's see here. Animals with high payout. No, we kind of only have 1-star non-apex animals. You know what? You're producing 685, but that's because there's a ton of stuff legacy to your slot, right? Yeah, there's like 600 something food. Okay. So yeah, I think 40% animal payout ends up being worse than just adding 50 science to something, or food bonus from a mineral. So like the Chanterelle bonus is not going to apply to what's from the slot. It only applies to what comes from the actual plant, as far as I'm aware. Which means that we kind of don't have a great place to use that. I'm just going to throw, like I said, some plus science on a tree somewhere and call it macaroni. And I do believe that will be our final score once everything has stopped tabulating. Way over 1,000 prosperity, like completely trivially, without even really thinking about it. City's at 233, 286, 262, and then for the new guys, 196 and wait, which guy was new over here? I've forgotten. I think it was you. No, that's right. It was you. Yeah, you're the 286, right? Yeah. You really can just accelerate a city to like full effectiveness very quickly once you have all your biotica unlocked. Humanity now prospers with the plants and the planet. The future is bright and green, and I should have turned off the overlay, but it doesn't really matter. Look at that. 9 beautiful stars. And honestly, that didn't even really feel like a hard game. I think we got lucky a couple of times. A really, really good drafts. But aside from that, it just was smooth sailing the whole way through. It was very, very straightforward. And with that, I do think we have seen what this expansion has to see. There's still some cool mechanics. I definitely want to play with the Grasslands a little bit more, but I think that's going to be it for us for today and for this series. Reus 2 is such a gift, y'all, and I am so excited every time a new expansion comes around to just like dip back in here and check it out with y'all for a little while. Like I said, that's I think it for our coverage of Grasslands, but I will be eagerly awaiting the next one. I hope y'all will as well. Y'all will as well. Words. Listen, it's getting late. So I'm gonna go have dinner. Maybe you should do the same. Consider dinner, and come back next time for something cool and new in this slot. And we'll see you then.